recording, right?
You don't have to do anything. Recording it remotely.
Located across the street from the Temple Sports Complex, 3 blocks from Temple's main campus, the apartments at 1220 North Broad offer an updated living experience with convenience and amenities that exceed expectations. Fans, check out Philly Style Pizza and Grill.
But there's not a good downtown Philly shop.
Visit Philly Style Pizza at
I mean, you
2010
can get
North
that.
Broad Street.
I mean, like, you know,
Need a snack?
or a
Food and
clear shot of
beverages
the
are
bridge would
available
be
at the
cool.
concession shed at the north end of the field throughout the game. Temple Lacrosse would like
Not really
to
a lot of
thank
beauty
Under
shot
Armour, official
opportunities.
outfitter of Temple Athletics. Temple University would also like to thank NovaCare, the official provider of physical therapy services for Temple Athletics. Follow Temple Lacrosse on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to stay up to date with the
If you
latest
need to say
stories
yes
and
or no,
videos.
do it on your camera. Down, left.
We would like to welcome all Temple Lacrosse alumni in attendance. All Temple Lacrosse alumni, please stop by the marketing table to sign in and pick up a free gift. The Temple Lacrosse team would also like to thank the Cherry Crusade for all their support this season. All Cherry Crusade members can grab a free slice of pizza at the marketing table. Fans, today's game is being played in honor of Mental Health Awareness Day and Lacrosse for Life. Lacrosse for Life is an organization that allows young adults to play for suicide
There's going to
prevention
be a
awareness.
there's going to be a tally light in your viewfinder, so watch for that. It'll be a red light. That's when you're high.
Our fans are invited to our post-game autograph session with our very own Temple Lacrosse team.
The light will be in the top center.
Cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial or ethnic comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the site of competition.
I mean, at the bottom of the frame, it looks good. Nearby, it's got a bubble balance on it. It looks bubbled to me.
So are you like zooming in as you are?
It's level to me.
Day has finally come. Here in Philadelphia, the Temple Owls will welcome to town the Florida Gators. It is the first ever matchup in the American as the inaugural season gets underway. One of the most storied programs in women's lacrosse, the 3-time national champion Owls taking on one of the more consistent programs these days, the Florida Gators, as they look to continue to defend their title with some familiar foes. We welcome you in on the American Digital Network. Lincoln Rose along with Kit McConico. Great to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon. Kit, this date has been circled ever since they announced that the American would be sponsoring women's lacrosse. All these teams migrating to their new home. One of these two teams will start off 1-0.
And it's a special day today in Philadelphia. A long time in the making. People looking forward to it. The new guard, if you will, in the Florida Gators, the old guard in the Temple Owls. Who comes up victorious?
So many great storylines today, but let's take a look at the wins and losses. What's it going to take for Amanda O'Leary's squad to make her homecoming a special one here today and pick up a win?
Well, for the Gators, it's about playing the complete game, keeping pressure on opponents. They were able to do this their last time out in a victory over Brown. They will need to do the same to come up with a win today in their conference opener. And finishing, Florida, a high-powered offense. They take a lot of shots, but Coach O'Leary wants more of those shots finding the back of the net. They need to get better shot selection and more goals. And stick protection, a great defense both one-on-one and as a team for the Owls. They're especially adept in the back check. It's going to be important to keep the stick high and tight for the Gators.
Conversely, for the Owls, how do they take advantage of home field advantage here at Howard Field?
First and foremost, it starts in the draw circle. Draw control, incredibly important. They need to win at least 50% of the draws to have a shot today. And balance on offense. Florida, high-powered. They like to run and gun. The Owls are going to be looking to slow things down, find that balance between possession and getting shots there in the 90-second shot clock. And finally, always important, goalkeeping. The goalkeeper will be tested early and often. She's going to have a big afternoon in the 6x6 to keep tempo in this one.
Well, for Florida, now ranked 17th in the nation, it's all about this offense, up-tempo, and a young woman who could be finding goal number 200 of her career here today.
Lindsey Ronbeck, the offensive leader, preseason attacker of the year in the American. The senior from Long Island has recorded a hat trick or better in 8 of the last 11 games, including 8 against the number 2 ranked Maryland Terrapins. You mentioned just 2 shy from that 200 mark for the Gators.
Standing in her way in the cage, of course, Erin Lowell.
Erin Lowell, the junior, another Empire State product. She split time in the pipes this season. She gets the start, and she's going to have a fantastic game against a very good offense from the Gators.
When we come back here on the American Digital Network, for the first time in American history, opening draw.
Discovery. It can come from any direction, in places new and familiar, but often starts from within.
Big changes are on the way.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Lacrosse fans have waited a long time for this, but we are moments away. Gators and Owls set to go. Before we get things started, Lincoln Rose, Kip McConico, let's check in with Lisa Roman.
It's a homecoming for Florida head coach Amanda O'Leary today as she returns to her alma mater, Temple University. But that's not the only familiarity for Coach O'Leary today, as she knows and has a long history with Temple head coach Bonnie Rawson. The two first met back in 1992 when they played on the U.S. lacrosse team together. From there, they both coached at Yale together, and now they meet again on the sidelines, and the respect between both of them is unmatched as teammates, coaches, and now friends. Lisa. For all those watching on Facebook Live, we want to hear from you. We want to know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. Comment in the section on Facebook Live because we want to hear from you.
Yeah, Lisa, thank you very much. Look forward to having some interaction with the viewers throughout this one. You heard the great ties between the two coaches. Each has won a national championship back in their playing days. Each is in the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. In fact, you heard, of course, Amanda O'Leary, former Owl. Let's step aside here for the anthem. Well, you saw just how well the contingency for Florida has traveled, but mind you, very few of them traveling from Gainesville. Most of this roster for the Gators is actually from New York, Maryland, the hotbed of this sport.
That's exactly right, Lincoln. A lot of talent on this Gators roster. Coach O'Leary has brought talent down from Maryland, from the Empire State, and they are looking, well, they're looking to get back in the national championship picture. That was the goal for the Gators coming into this year, but some tough losses all against nationally ranked teams. They're going to be looking to bounce back today, and they start conference.
Bonnie Rosen, the former national champion in her playing day in Charlottesville with the Cavaliers of UVA, 13th year at the helm of this Temple Owls program. 23rd year overall as a head coach, inducted into the U.S. Lacrosse Hall of Fame 9 years back. You heard Lisa report, of course, she got one of her first coaching jobs thanks to Amanda O'Leary at Yale, when Coach O'Leary, in her previous head coaching stop before starting the Gators program, was the top woman over there in the Ivy League. Back then, again, she had come off a great playing career at Temple when she was Mandy Moore.
The coaches played together for the U.S. national team. They've coached together, and now going up against each other. You and I had the opportunity to speak with them earlier this week, and they both mentioned how special this is, certainly for Coach O'Leary, back in her old stomping grounds, back when she was a member of that Broad Street Bullies team, which won a national championship. She was going to be looking for her side to pick up the victory. And Florida, as always, looking to start fast. The offense, that is one thing the Gators have. Anyone who knows anything about women's lacrosse knows Florida likes to press pace. They really embrace that moniker, the fastest game on 2 feet. And we'll see how Temple's able to slow them down.
Temple enters conference play trying to snap a 3-game losing skid against Boston, JMU, Jacksonville. Florida has been able to string a couple wins together with one of the nation's toughest schedules this year. They were able to manage a victory at Stony Brook. Got back home to the Diz, picked up that impressive win against Brown, trying to carry some momentum as your preseason favorites here in the American. Just about ready for the opening draw. Great to have you with us here on the American Digital Network. We'll have 3 regular season matches for you here on ADN, and of course we'll have wall-to-wall coverage of the first ever conference championship in Cincinnati this year. Top 4 teams will qualify. For the Gators, there you see Shannon Cavanaugh, the standout sophomore midfielder. Found her 100th point against Brown this past week, 3rd fastest in Gators history. A promising start, though, for Temple.
That big opening draw for the Owls, exactly what they needed. They'll have the first possession.
That was Bridget Whitaker able to track it down, sophomore in her own right. So much talent. While they'll lose some great seniors this year, both these teams in the offseason, both coaches have done a great job stockpiling talent in the younger classes.
Impressive. 13 freshmen on that Gators side. They will lose 9 from this talented senior class, but some of the best players, some of the top recruits in the country making their way down to Gainesville.
Can Temple strike first? Here in the opening moments, it is year 3 here at the rejuvenated Temple Sports Complex at the new Howarth Field, something that had Florida coach Amanda O'Leary a little envious. She said when she was at Temple as a student, she lived just across the street. This would have been an easy walk for her on game day.
A nice start here from Temple, swinging it around and getting everyone a touch, taking time off the shot clock. Exactly what they want to do, long, sustained possessions.
As Megan Hoffman, who had a prolonged look there for a moment. Trying to test the pipes for the first time. This one will go on.
Yeah, big ground ball there at the top of the crease. Owls able to come up with it. And they back it up, and they find the opener.
How about the bounce back? Sticking with it there, the Temple Owls find the opening advantage against number 17, Florida.
Haley Hicklin, goalkeeper of the year preseason in the American, tried to back up the shot. The shot went wide and was unable to get back in the crease in time. You see the shot there, goes wide. Hicklin tried to back it up, said Temple was closest to it, and just unable to get back into the crease in time. A nice feed to the top of the crease, and right there, Rodzowicz with the opening goal, putting the Owls on top.
Yeah, Jen Rodzowicz, a nice job recovering the ball and did not give Hicklin any chance to get set. Rodzwich's 8th goal now on the year, the sophomore from right here in Pennsylvania, like so many of her teammates. And they'll bring it back as the ball controlled again by Whitaker. Whitaker getting better every day as her head coach. So pleased with her progress.
Yeah, Whitaker, 11 goals, a team best, 6 assists, 17 caused turnovers, also a team best.
Now for Florida, they're no stranger to falling behind early. Again, they've had one of the toughest schedules in the country this year, one of the top 5 schedules we've seen. They wanted to be ready for conference play, and they hope for an NCAA push as well. 8 straight NCAA tournaments for the Gators. They had a nice run against Brown in the first half, able to pull away with that one. But right now, Temple has a chance to string back-to-back goals together. Outside the 8.
Like this from Temple, working from X, trying to invert the offense, putting extra pressure on that Gators defense.
Ball with Megan Hoffman, the junior. And they'll reset from behind. And we'll get 3 seconds here.
And you see, that's exactly what the Owls want to do. They want to initiate from behind. You see that more and more in lacrosse. Just puts more pressure on your goalie. Have to flip the head. Really have to keep your head on a swivel as a defender.
Hoffman, 12 goals on the year, making her 5th start this season. Has come off the bench in the other half of this year's contests. Looking to challenge Haley Hicklin. First team all-conference in goal coming out of the Big East last year. Gators won the last 4 Big East tournament titles for those automatic bids into the NCAA tournament. Last year knocked out by JMU in the quarterfinals. Hoffman tries to pounce one in. Second chance opportunity won't go.
2 big saves there from the second team All-American a year ago, Hicklin, and now a chance to run and gun for the Gators.
This is Gators lacrosse. Full speed ahead, looking for the equalizer early on.
Just a bit too much. You want to draw the defender and then dump. And a turnover from Florida. Still looking for their first offensive possession.
If you are Temple, you have to be really pleased with how the first few minutes have unfolded here.
A great start for the Owls. See if they can add to their 1-0 advantage.
That's Lacrosse eating up a lot of real estate. Quickly putting the pressure back on the blue and orange.
Gracious, one of the captains, leads her side in draw controls. And a big save from Hicklin.
Yeah, nice turnover forced by Lindsey Ronbeck. The senior is your preseason attacker of the year. Talked about she is 2 goals shy of 200 for her career. And it would almost be an upset if she didn't find those today.
They anticipate Ronbeck eclipsing that 200 mark, would be the 2nd fastest skater to ever get to 200 goals. That's going to go against the Gators. See it right there from Grace Haas, the sophomore from Baltimore. A lot of contact, and curious call going against Florida.
Yeah, Haas thought perhaps she had received some dangerous contact. Owls able to find that initial goal. Currently leading thanks to the shot from Rodzwich, her 8th on the year.
A perfect start from Temple, doing what they want to do. Long possessions, keeping the ball away from Florida.
Of course, we continue to have that shot clock here in the women's game of 90 seconds. But we don't anticipate that's going to factor in very often with the style of play we should see today in Philadelphia.
No, and it's been a good addition to the game. I think most coaches, certainly players, agree. That's one thing that people love about lacrosse, how fast-paced it is. Shot clock just forcing that a bit more.
Gators deny Hoffman a good look. This time Whitaker looking for that avenue. Whitaker with the spin, and we'll have a play come to a halt.
Florida doing a good job keeping numbers inside. That defense packed in tight. You're going to see it here, the contact. Nicely done there from Whitaker, the sophomore, another Keystone State native. A lot of local talent on this Owls side. Most of the players from 2 hours of campus, and you can understand why. So much local talent out of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and the states surrounding.
That was Kara Trombetta, who, again, was assessed the whistle there. Understand how aggressive she is. Your preseason defender of the year. 87 caused turnovers, already tied for most in a career for a Florida Gator. Just a tad aggressive that time, and sets up this opportunity for Whitaker and the Owls.
Huge opportunity here for Whitaker. Right at the top of the 8-meter. Chance to put her Owls on top by 2.
Able to come up with the answer is Hicklin.
Hicklin's so good. Out of Baltimore, the Towson product. Knew that shot was going low and was up to it.
Coming off an All-American campaign, Haley Hicklin with another stop, your all-time saves leader, over 400 in her career. If you have an offense that puts up as many shots as Florida does, there are some ramifications as well. If you are the goalkeeper, that means the other team's going to get some opportunities.
Yeah, that's a great point. You've got to think that Hicklin facing these players like Ronbeck, like Pareca every day in practice, some of the best in the country, and that just gets her better.
Owls will certainly have chances to find additional goals today. Florida giving up a little over 12 per contest. Let's check back in with Lisa.
Haley Hicklin, the Florida Gators goalkeeper, has been so dynamic between the pipes so far. Temple Owls have had 3 8-meter shots, and they haven't been able to score on any of them. That's going to be key in today's game for Temple. They're going to need to capitalize when they get those free shots, just like Florida did.
Meanwhile, her counterpart, Maren Lowell, sees the first one slip by her today. It's a brand new match now, 6 minutes in, as the Gators find their first scoring strike as members of the American.
And nicely done there, Kavanaugh, the sophomore out of Smithtown, New York. Great placement on the shot. Mentioned how important that was going to be, taking advantage of the free positions. One thing the coaches really harp on, when you have those chances, you have to score. You need to be above 40%, preferably closer to 50. And Florida takes advantage of their first free position to tie it up.
36 goals for Kavanaugh now, last year's Big East co-freshman of the year. And just great, both offensively and defensively, all-around game for Kavanaugh. She'll be a fun one to watch. Mind you, those 36 goals, not even the best on her own team.
That's amazing to think about that. A player the caliber of Kavanaugh now heads to the draw circle. Got Pareca, the preseason midfielder of the year. Ronbeck, obviously, who leads the team in goals. It's a wealth of offensive talent for the Gators.
So Temple had multiple opportunities to string goals together. Hicklin and the Gators just surrender one. Now we're back even. Owls not backing down in that draw control. If you're Florida, they believe every 50-50 ball is really more of a 60-40 with their speed. But Owls holding their own here at home.
Huge ground ball there for Temple. Coaches always point to the ground ball battle. If you're able to come up victorious, chances are you can win the game. And that's a big one in that situation. Lacrosse, a game of momentum, a game of runs. Temple had the chance to go up 2, maybe even 3-0. Florida, courtesy of Hicklin with the big saves, able to tie things up. Now we'll see if they can get a stop and go on a run.
Maddie Giebert, first time we've had a chance to say the attacker's name. That bodes well for the Gators so far. And we expect to be able to sprinkle in a few more Giebert references throughout this match.
Owls leader in goals with 18 on the season. She's going to have to be a factor, you would think. Oh, nice inside roll and going low. Beautiful work from X, coming above, goal line extended. Enough room, and that's a beautiful goal. Creates the space, the inside roll there, and buries it low.
Already a brace for Jen Roswich.
And this is just textbook right here. Roswich driving in, pulls the defender far enough away from the crease. The inside roll goes low in the 6x6. And the Hilltown, PA native doubles her total.
Asked her head coach, one word, sum her up, creative.
That's a beautiful dodge from behind. Caroline May, the senior from Sparks, Maryland, just not keeping her close enough to the crease, allowed Rosowich to have the space. She took full advantage.
Florida is going to concede goals. The question is, can Temple continue to outscore? Because Florida will not be held quiet for long.
Oh, you're exactly right. Florida, that's one thing about this offense. They will concede goals because they know they're going to score goals. But right now, Temple maybe a bit of a surprise as they're out in front early.
Temple picked 4th in the preseason polls as voted on by the 6 coaches. Through traffic, Shannon Cavanaugh.
Nice draw control there. Cavanaugh winning it to herself.
Gators found one equalizer. We weren't tied for long. Owls, undeterred, quickly raced to the other end and found themselves a second goal today from Rosowich, now 9 on the year.
Oh, great save from Lowell. That was a good feed, but an acute angle on the shot. Lowell up to it, had her body pressed against that near pipe.
The junior goalkeeper's been splitting times this year with Olivia Martin, the sophomore.
Oh, just over 12 goals against average. Certainly one of the better teams that she has faced this season. So far, she's been up to the test.
We talk about the history of Temple, 13 trips to the NCAA tournament, but it's been a decade drought. Trying to secure that automatic bid out of this conference to get back to the promised land with their Hall of Fame head coach. Lambeth steps back outside the 8.
Not enough off-ball movement right now. Lambeth with a nice draw and dump. The slide came to her, but nobody off-ball. And if there's a double team, a slide, that means somebody's open.
Now Whitaker never pulls the trigger. And the Gators able to hold.
Florida's defense doing its job there. Maybe let off the hook a little bit. They will gladly take it.
Trombetta or Whiteman, they continue to feed it forward. Looking to tie this one up again. Marin Lowell is game.
And wide open, Rombeck cannot give her that much space, but just ran herself out of angle down the left-handed alley. A great look from behind. You see Rombeck, no one in white even close to her. Just couldn't put it in the back of the net.
No time to rest. Florida with another chance here. 9.5 minutes in. And another stop from Lowell.
Another huge save from Lowell. One thing I've noticed right now, the Gators, except for that free position, their lone goal, they're looking to go high in the cage on Lowell. She has 2 saves. Maybe they try to mix it up and go low or bounce one on her.
You never know what kind of personality you'll get with a keeper. We saw Marin in warm-ups today really leading this squad. And she wasn't going to shy away from taking those sprints with her teammates, even though her Fitbit probably won't read quite as much by the end of today.
And goalkeepers in lacrosse, just a different breed, an incredibly difficult sport or position to play, I should say. You see the foul committed there by Cristodero.
Sabrina Cristodero, the sophomore, feisty, as described by her head coach, Amanda O'Leary. You're going to hear the Gators fans with their vocal input in this one. Again, mentioned they welcome this trip up north for their daughters, sisters, family members, and friends, as most of them making the trek from New York and Maryland. These Florida players are prodigies. Most people wait till they're in their late 60s before they can move down to Florida. Right down the heart. Temple now with a multiple goal advantage.
And what a drive. You called it right through the heart of that Gators defense. Amber Lambeth going straight through, no one sliding. And when the slide came, just too little, too late. You see her Rombeck just giving her that alley, takes it left-handed, and able to put it off stick, hit a difficult shot to stop for any goalkeeper.
She navigates right around Pareca, one of your top midfielders in the nation. Lambeth with her 8th goal now on the year. Preseason all-conference, living up to expectations.
Fantastic work right there. A lot of times defenders, they will try to push you to your offhand. If they think you're stronger right, they'll force you to go left. That time Lambeth gladly taking the left-handed alley and a perfectly placed shot, bounced it off stick, hip high.
Bonnie Rosen described this as a clean slate. Conference play, not just a brand new year, but a brand new part of your schedule. Forget the 3-7 mark in non-conference. Opportunity is in front of them, especially against a national power like Florida.
That's one thing both of these coaches said. This is the second season. You can wipe the slate clean. Everything that happened before this, those losses for Florida. But Coach O'Leary also saying that her team was mentally and physically broken down after that very difficult non-conference, and maybe seen a little bit of that early in this one.
Great to have you with us today here on the American Digital Network. Lincoln Rose, Kip McConico, Lisa Roman down on the field. Florida no longer with a chance to tie it up with their next shot. Down by a pair. Pareca directing this offense.
This next goal is going to be big. Florida a chance to cut it to 1. Temple, if they can get it back, a chance to go up by 3. One of those real momentum goals coming for either side.
Back to the top of the fan. Pareca charges. And we will have a foul.
Took a shot there, a lot of contact on Rombeck. Rombeck trying to do everything she can to get involved, and she wins herself a free position. See it again, just driving in the slide late. Came from Courtney Taylor.
Taylor, one of your captains. Opportunity here, 8 meters out. No worries. Marin Lowell has been brilliant today.
Massive save on the bounce shot from Lowell so far. She's been great. Everything going high on her. Rombeck tried to go low, bounces it. Lowell up to it. Outstanding thus far is the Owls goalie.
Amber Lambeth with the last goal for the Owls moments ago. The other 2 goals from Rodzwich. And another Owl joined them in the box score. And the rebound comes back out to the Owls. They continue to pepper the pipes of Florida.
2 of the 4 Owls goals have been scored off rebounds. Hickman able to come up with clean saves, has allowed rebounds. 1, a ground ball scooped up at the top of the crease, and this one just bounces out fortuitously for Temple. It found the stick of a woman in white. Look inside the feed, a good look. Hickman allows the rebound, and on the spot, Maddie Giebert. It was just a matter of time before we called the Pottstown, PA native. She comes up with her first, and more importantly, now a 3-goal lead for the home team.
19th goal now for Giebert on the year. We've seen her with 3 hat tricks throughout this campaign already. What a start for Temple to kick off this first campaign in the American. These Owls fans have seen some great lacrosse over the years, especially that dominance throughout the 80s when they were the top team in the nation on 3 occasions, including that 19-0 run with a young Mandy Moore leading the way. But right now, Temple, a 4-1 advantage, turning some heads.
I would have turned that last goal. As we said it, Florida had a chance to cut it to 1. Instead, Temple extends it to a 3-goal lead, and we knew Coach O'Leary was going to take the timeout, really wants to settle down her side. And for Temple, just keep doing what you've been doing. You've had these long possessions. They're having success sneaking from behind, keeping the players on offense up and away from the ball carrier when she goes above GLE. There's been some room there to not just shoot, but to dish if the slide comes as well. Florida, they've got to get some stops, and they want to play transition. If you can get a few turnovers, play some run and gun, see if you can pick up a goal or 2 in the unsettled situations.
Well, we just think about how this sport has continued to grow. Certainly 2 of the great ambassadors serving as head coaches of these 2 programs. But back in their playing days, the fall was for field hockey, the spring for lacrosse. These days, these young women, they breathe lacrosse 24/7 year-round.
That's exactly right. They play the game year-round. They'll play indoors in the winter. They'll be outdoors if there's snow, but they always have a stick in their hand. Coach O'Leary told us that not only did she play field hockey in the fall, she actually got a winter break before lacrosse started, and that is unheard of these days.
Yeah, they are mindful of what is being asked of today's student athlete. And as much as they do on the field, I I know Temple, the athletic department, is so proud of their young Owls as they've embraced Causes Day, where instead of just choosing one ailment to get behind, one cause to get behind, they get to know every player's story, what's touched their life and what's important to them. And it's something they carry with them.
Yeah, third year in a row, the Owls each have chose a cause to support. Fantastic work there off the field from Temple. Florida doing the same, embracing a young Gator, now a member of their program. We'll tell you more about that.
Gators facing their biggest deficit of the day, down by 3. As 3 different Owls have been able to strike successfully here in the opening half. Back up to Kavanaugh. And Shannon Kavanaugh, beloved by her teammates, found her 100th point against Brown the other day in that 22-11 runaway win. It was all about putting goals together. It sounds like a lazy talking point when we say momentum and that you really want momentum, but Florida showed you what you can do when you can string goals together right before halftime and carry that with you.
Yeah, about that final few minutes before the break and coming out of halftime, keeping the pressure on, which they did against Brown. Florida, they know how to play from behind. They played great teams this year. Losses to Maryland, Syracuse, North Carolina, all ranked in the top 4.
Well, since Amanda O'Leary started this Florida program in 2011, their first season, only Maryland has won more games. They are tied with North Carolina, the second most successful program in the win column during the past decade. Great pass, dial up the assist. Gators are back on the board with the scoring strike from Ron Beck. That is goal number 199.
Yeah, great stuff right there indeed. Exactly what they needed. A good cut, defender turning their head. Ron Beck able to come away with it, the Long Island native, her first of the game, and much needed. That was a good set from Florida. They were patient. They waited for the cutter. They had a few going across the face of goal. No one open. Ron Beck able to get open in no trouble. Nice placement on the shot as well.
Now that's Hannah Martinet with the assist, the freshman, one of the 13 freshmen for Florida this year. Out of Notre Dame Prep, Lutherville, Maryland. The freshman knew exactly where to go. Dial up the senior.
And we're going to see a freshman in the draw now for the Owls in the form of Winston Archer out of Charlottesville, VA.
Now her head coach, again, Bonnie Rosen, saw her while recruiting another player, and it was fate. In fact, Winston's family in Charlottesville hosted the team when they went to play JMU nearby. As a little bit of a homecoming for Bonnie. We mentioned today it's Amanda O'Leary's homecoming, playing against her, or coaching against her former team.
Temple, a big draw control after conceding the goal. So far doing a very good job in the draw circle.
Here's that freshman you're talking about, Winston Archer, making her 8th appearance on the year. Temple has never beaten Florida. But we talk about a clean slate here in a brand new conference. Right now, the Owls looking to regain a 3-goal advantage. Opportunity slips away there. And Acker able to maintain possession. Out to Archer. Well marked.
Florida doing a good job sending Owls away, pushing them down the alleys, decreasing their shot angle with every step they take.
Back to your captain, Olivia Thompson. Had her career high 6 goals against Rutgers, a whistle before the shot.
And a good drive there, dodging from the wing top side. Wins a free position. You see it there, just push the shot wide. Sometimes in lacrosse, better to have a shot off cage if you're able to back it up and retain possession than have the goalie come up with a save.
We've seen Temple certainly take advantage of shots that have spilled away from the stick of Hicklin. Lambeth fires one. But Florida not in the clear just yet.
Owls back it up, retain possession. Another opportunity in this set. Hicklin needs to come up with a save or two to build her confidence.
We are midway through the opening half. If you told Temple that Florida would only have 2 goals, I think that would have checked a lot of boxes off the to-do list defensively.
It's all been about possession. The Owls have had it, the Gators haven't, but now turned over. Archer charging. Hard to score if you don't have the ball, and that's been an issue for Florida.
The freshman trying to back down this Gator defense, plowing over Gillis. This will be the first of 4 straight years that they'll likely be matching up a pair of freshmen. And it's all about being a top 4 team in this league, moving on to Cincinnati and playing for that automatic bid. Just need to win 2 games in Cincinnati at the conference tournament to be crowned champion with the automatic bid. Of course, these Gators have been pretty selfish with those automatic bids, the NCAA tournament over the years. 8 conference titles over the past 8 years, including each year's members of the Big East. Opportunity in transition here. Temple once more.
Yeah, huge ground ball from the Owls. Ronbeck tried to goose it back to herself, but an Owl beat her to it.
Luderitz to Lambeth. You hear that wind whipping around. But really ideal day for lacrosse here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, perfect lacrosse weather. The sun is out. Fans enjoying themselves.
Hoffman. Hicklin on her heels, just waiting for that shot to come from any direction. You're going to get a foul away from the play right there in front of the face of goal.
And Kavanaugh, the push there on Lambeth in the back. See her at the top of the crease, looking to go in, had her stick up, was looking for the feed. Made the most of that, did Lambeth.
And I think, yeah, actually, Bridget Whitaker there drawing the attention. And here is Whitaker. Tried to bounce it home, would not get within 3 yards.
Great defense from the Gators, able to get sticks in there, deflected that shot, never reaching the goal of Hicklin.
Cristodero able to come up with it. You can see the high stick delivered there. And will this be a yellow? An advantage coming up. Off for 2 minutes.
First yellow of the game. Temple will be down a woman. It'll be a big loss there as Razowicz heads to the sideline. And this is an opportunity that Florida has to take advantage of. Trailing by 2, the numerical advantage, they've got to get at least 1, preferably 2 in the back of the net.
So 12:22 on the clock. Expect the Owls to be down by a pair. Or rather, down for a couple minutes.
Good work there from Temple, able to deflect that one, but it'll stay Gators ball. Have the numerical advantage, important to move the ball, find that soft spot.
Can Florida take advantage of the numbers game? Held to just 2 goals so far.
Great skip pass there, and that's what you're talking about when you have that advantage in numbers. Skip pass a lot of times exactly what you want, and Haas will have the free position.
Well, that's Haas's game, even if she wasn't coming from a free position. She is so good at driving. Now, you can talk about being a great cutter as well, but plenty of confidence on that shot from Grace Haas.
This is a perfect placement. Off stick, bounces high. That is a perfect shot right there. Always want to go off stick if you have the opportunity. Bounce shot so difficult for goalies, and that one finds itself in the upper 90. Look at shot placement, perfect there from Haas. Now just a 1-goal game.
So they take advantage of the Owls being down a player. As our next draw will feature Kavanaugh and Whitaker.
So far, Temple's been very good in the draw circle. If Kavanaugh can start winning a few of these for the Gators.
Gators have not had a lead today. We were briefly tied at 1 goal apiece. Temple was able to strike early. But the Gators now with consecutive goals, and this could be when concern sinks in if they can go on a run.
That's exactly right. They've scored the last 2, and they make it 3 in a row to tie it up.
Those Gator Chomps have made their way to Philly. A pesky ground ball, finally controlled by the women from Gainesville.
Good work there from Florida. The ground ball and wisely going backward. Saw a wall of white jerseys in front of him now coming up the field.
Trombetta, as if she was the only player on the field and could not see all those white uniforms in front of her, was not going to be slowed down.
Hair Trombetta there going straight to the top of the crease, not dishing. Looks like she wanted to pull the trigger and just right into 3 Owl defenders. In a situation like that, if you have 2 and 3 on you, somebody else is open. You've got to move the ball.
Yeah, likely had a few opportunities.
Right now, game's starting to open up a little bit, seeing some turnovers, and you would think that this favors Florida with their speed and athleticism.
Pareka again denied point blank by Lowell. Back out with Kavanaugh.
Pareka, senior from Mount Sinai, New York, still looking for her first goal in this one. Oh, has been able to stop every shot sent her way from number 44 in blue thus far.
Last 2 goals, courtesy of Ronbeck and Haas, both for Florida. They've trimmed a 4-1 deficit to pull within 1. Looking to level it. And we are even, 4 goals apiece. Kavanaugh.
And great work from Shannon Kavanaugh, just taking matters into her own hands in this situation. Sees an alley. Able to go right by Uteritz. Ties things at 4. Nicely done from Kavanaugh. Know what she's able to do in the draw control. Comes up with a big goal for the Gators.
A brace today for Shannon, her 37th goal now on the young campaign, as Temple has seen a 3-goal advantage slip away. Still have not trailed, but that's 3 unanswered for Florida.
Temple, a resilient team. One thing their coaching staff takes great pride in, they're going to have to get something going offensively. They had a fantastic start, put Florida on their heels. Gators have battled back to tie it. The momentum firmly on the side of the visitors.
Shannon Kavanaugh, 2 goals down. Looking for another hat trick today. She's had a hat trick or better in 7 of her 11 matches this year. You can say that for a lot of Gators. With the numbers that this group is putting up offensively, I'm almost, well, I'll say surprised. They're number 3 in the nation, fewest turnovers for a team that likes to be up-tempo in Florida.
It's impressive how well they control the ball to have as few turnovers as they do, playing the run-and-gun style with as many shots taken. do a great job backing things up. They understand keeping possession so important. They're good in ground ball situations and a make it take it situation as they scored, and then Kavanaugh able to come away with the draw control.
Gators looking for their first lead. Yeah, another shooting space foul.
Kavanaugh an opportunity to put Florida on top for the first time in the game.
First team all-conference last year as a freshman out of the Big East when she was your co-freshman of the year. Goes right at Lowell, and you have to be impressed with the junior in frame for Temple.
Great job there from Lowell, able to deflect that shot, but another ground ball won by the Gators. So far, they are the team better with the ball on the turf.
As many times as your goalie can come up with a big stop, you just can't afford to keep giving Florida more opportunities.
The old adage, ground balls win games.
It is almost unnerving as Florida just bides its time, working around for that perfect look. Great control here. There's one of your likely candidates in Pareca.
You see all the Florida players always with the stick up in that triple threat position, always ready to shoot, dodge, or pass as soon as they receive the pass.
Inside. And Temple still not in the clear.
Yeah, Temple weathering the storm, but it seems like just a matter of time. You see the dish inside, another feed to the top of the crease. Looking for a Haas.
From 8 meters out. And just bad luck for Haas. As Lowell able to read that one.
Lowell really keeping the Owls in this one. Big collision.
And concern there as Trombetta prepared to take its strike to the back of the head.
Safety always the first and foremost concern, as it well should be.
Florida swept all the preseason major accolades for, there you see, just inadvertent the way top of the stick came around, caught the back of Kara's head. She's your preseason defender of the year, joining preseason attacker Ron Beck and preseason midfielder Pareca, goalkeeper Hicklin. Understandably, Florida, with what they did in the Big East, has the target on its back here in this new conference in the American.
Yeah, the junior out of Holbrook, New York, being attended to by the training staff. Both teams an opportunity to catch their breath. That was most unfortunate. Good to see her on her feet.
So Trombetta will make her way across to be looked at. Certainly have a good option, and Whiteman back out in her place. Whiteman, again, one of the 13 freshmen, but one of 2 starting defenders on a regular basis now this year. That's a lot of confidence from her head coach in a program with a lot of talented seniors. And there you see Maddie Hall as well back in among the senior leaders. Temple still has not trailed, but their 4-1 lead has evaporated.
Temple getting back to what we saw early that made them successful with these long possessions, moving it around.
Giebert had that 4th goal. They've been quiet since then. And you see the extension there. It'll be hard to sneak by any official.
Good offense here from the Owls is what you want to see. Moving the ball quickly, finding the open player. The infraction will give them a free position.
Olivia Thompson tries to bounce one home. Love the constant flow of this sport.
Yeah, so fan-friendly, the fastest game on 2 feet. One of those sports that if you watch one game, you play one game, chances are you are hooked. And Temple with a home field advantage playing on the turf. They know the bounce of it, and it is a true bounce here.
And of course, the Disney Stadium with that natural surface back in Gainesville. Always have to be mindful of Rodswich with that spin. Already 2 goals today.
Yeah, good work there, not allowing the inside roll.
Almost able to sneak one by Giebert.
A little Canadian there bringing it across. Just couldn't put it on frame.
Florida's had 3 unanswered goals. Temple looking for that answer here. Rodswich, who's made every start this year. Great pass. Owls are back in the box score and back on top of the scoreboard.
What a look. Absolutely perfect pass and a great cut. Uterin saw her defender turn her head, backdoored her perfectly. This is what you do. You're a young player, you're a defender, focusing too much on the ball, just able to slip behind, That was...
Rodswich able to dial up Olivia Thompson for her 16th scoring strike this year.
Now Thompson with a beautiful cut and a great finish there. Absolutely outstanding. That 2-woman game for the Owls puts them back on top.
And that is a big answer for Temple. After giving up 3 straight, you see your lead evaporate, but they do not let Florida get over the hump.
No, we talked about the resiliency of this Temple side. You saw it right there. Saw their lead of 3 cut to 0. They were tied at 4, but able to come back. Now back on top are the Owls.
It's the little things that pay off here in the draw circle. Even if you can't get it cleanly, Florida welcomes those 50-50 balls.
Yeah, the wing play is so important. Draw control is a science.
Well done.
Kavanaugh knows what she's doing in the circle. Florida, who wasn't winning a lot in the draw control circle early, now starting to have a lot more success later in the first half.
Ron Beck with that stick over her left shoulder. The Owls giving space to Kavanaugh.
Tough feed in there, saw the cutter, but well defended. And that's what you want, your sticks up in the passing lanes, able to knock down passes like that. Good job by Temple.
Temple able to take advantage of a numbers game there defensively. Again, that's Nina Hines sprinting up ahead as the Owls look for insurance once more. Stoppage of play, they'll reset the clock.
Very important, 4 minutes, 40 seconds to wrap up this first half. Which one of these teams can take a lead going into the break?
You see Temple's rich history in both lacrosse and field hockey, essentially sister sports historically, documented on that fence across the way. These two programs familiar with one another. Again, continue to share a conference, but new stomping grounds here in the American Athletic Conference. As looking for the insurance there was Overman, and let's see if Temple gets another chance here.
Again, another job catching the defender with her head turned. But a backdoor cutter was Abby Overman.
Yeah, she took a knock while firing that one. And a yellow will come out. Temple with a 2-minute advantage here.
Huge opportunity for the Owls. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the half.
Overman went to high school with her current Owl teammate Olivia Thompson over in Maryland. And things starting to snowball here for Florida.
Another free position, but Temple has to turn this into points.
Well played.
Huge save from Hickman, trying to go low on the senior from Baltimore, knew where the shot was going, and was up to it.
Her head coach, Amanda O'Leary, summed her up as cerebral, the All-American. And sometimes a big play on defense can spark an offense. Florida looking to level it at 5. That pass, however, off the mark.
Gators offense going through phases, just not clicking as we're used to seeing. They came back from down 4-1. Just haven't had the transition opportunities that make them so dangerous. Credit Temple, especially in the midfield.
I believe that's Trombetta who will be guilty of the foul, perhaps Grace Haas.
Temple still with a numerical advantage. Whiteman over on the sideline after picking up the yellow.
Owls regaining the lead moments ago with the goal from Thompson. A foot race here, led by Pareca.
Yeah, this is where she and the Gators are at their best. Playing a woman down, wisely electing to slow things. Temple doing a very good job. That scouting report, they know the way Florida likes to press the pace. They've kept numbers in tight, haven't given them those fast break opportunities.
Again, the way Florida can just slow things down, yet at any moment can put their foot back on the pedal.
They almost lull you to sleep, and then in a split second, somebody takes off towards Cage.
They have not led today. Right now, just trying to pull even once more. That'll do it. Even at 5. This time, the strike from Martinet to go with her assist earlier.
And the freshman from Lutherville, Maryland, comes up with her first goal of the game. And this is all set up by the two-woman game between Pareca and Ronbeck. All the focus on number 14 and 44. Martinet able to get open, and a great feed and an equally impressive finish.
One of the many products down to the Baltimore area from Notre Dame Prep. High school teammates back then included names like Grace Haas, Corbo. Florida's got a nice pipeline into really the heart of lacrosse country.
And what a high school program that was. Players of that caliber all playing together at the high school level, and now continuing at the collegiate level down in Gainesville.
Less than 2 minutes to go till halftime. Reminder, we'll have a chance to check in with both head coaches on either side of the mid-game break.
Kavanaugh has won the last 3 draw controls for the Gators.
Always welcome the chance to talk to the Hall of Famers, the former USA teammates. Unique dynamic of Florida's head coach, Amanda O'Leary, back then Mandy Moore, returning to her stomping ground where she is a member of the Temple Hall of Fame, but these days leading the blue and orange. Florida, could it find its first lead right before heading to the locker room? Not just yet.
Owls dodge a bullet. That shot coming off the pipe. It looks as if it had Lowell beaten. Now a chance for Temple. If they can find a goal and go into the half with an advantage.
That Martinet goal assisted by Ronbeck has us with a brand new ball game.
Shot coming off the pipe the other way for the Owls.
Final half minute, a race against the clock. Martinet. And for the first time today, Florida strikes to take an advantage with 15 seconds to spare before halftime.
Great look inside. The senior Lindsey Ronbeck out of Manhasset. Haas with the assist, a bullet pass. Ronbeck, no mistake. Her second of the game and her 200th as a Florida Gator.
The second fastest for any Gator to ever hit the 200 goal mark. She does it in her 70th career game, suiting up for the University of Florida. And they will look for more from her in the second half.
And what a goal there from Florida. Not just the 200th in her Gator career for Ronbeck, but giving her side an advantage with just 15 seconds remaining before the halftime whistle.
Number 17 team in the nation has its first lead today. Its first ever lead in the American. One of these two teams will find itself tonight tied for the lead atop the standings here in the American. Now it's the Owls looking for the equalizer. For the first time today, they trail. Back-to-back goals from the Gators, and for the first time today, your goalkeeper of the year entering this season for the American, Haley Hicklin, has a lead to defend, comes up with the stop. First half hour in the books here in Philadelphia, and we have a good one. The Gators finally battle back, sticking with it. And in a moment, we'll have a chance to check in with Lisa.
Great first half, back and forth. Temple off to a hot start. Florida able to reel them in. And the Gators with a goal to take the lead just 15 seconds before the halftime whistle.
And Lisa is with head coach of Florida, Amanda O'Leary.
Coach, you took the lead with 16 left in that first half. Where was that momentum shift for your team?
You know, I'm not sure we even still have the momentum shift. I mean, this has been a back and forth game. I think, you know, Temple is just really doing a great job of keeping us on our defensive end, taking time off the clock, just doing an outstanding job. They're dominating this game, and I'm surprised we're up by 1 goal because, you know, looking at what I'm looking at out there, they're definitely the better team right now.
Temple has forced you to be in your defensive end so much during that first half. In the second half, where can it be tighter defensively?
You know, I think we need to step out. We need to have confidence in our 1v1 skills. You know, I think we're sending the help. We just need to have those second adjacents there because they're sending cutters and we're not responding.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you very much. Again, Amanda O'Leary, her 4 years in Philadelphia as a student, literally lived right across the street. Her Gators head to the locker room with a 1-goal advantage here on the American Digital Network.
Discovery. It can come from any direction, in places new and familiar, but often starts from within.
Big changes are on the way.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
dominance for a fourth straight year. Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Powerful minds, strong in mind,
strong in body.
The American is dedicated
to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see, then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
So that you can move towards wellness.
Well, Florida overcomes a 3-goal deficit, takes a 1-goal advantage into the half on the road in their inaugural matchup in the American against Temple today. Lincoln Rose, Kim McConico here with you at the break. Let's check in with Lisa Roman.
Student athletes have so many mental, emotional.
An incredible first half between Temple and Florida. Florida getting that goal with just 16 seconds left in the first half, and that's the mentality that the Florida Gators have. They run and gun, and they fight till the very end. And we've seen them pushing in transition. As soon as they get that ball, they're down the field setting up their offense, and that comes from having confidence in their team. The Florida Gators attack needs to know that the defense is going to win the ball back when they get down the field and shoot that quick shot. For Temple, it's just going to be about staying tight in their man-to-man defense in this second half. Florida's being patient on their attack. They're doing lots of cuts and dives and rolling tight around the crease. Temple needs to look out for those rolls around the crease so they don't leave their goalkeeper, Ross, alone.
Lisa, thank you very much. Again, both these coaches talked about a clean slate with a brand new season starting today. One of them will improve to 1-0 in the American. Florida up by 1 here at the break.
Discovery. It can come from any direction, in places new and familiar, but often starts from within.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
dominance for a 4th straight year. Quaso from 30! Unbelievable!
And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Powerful minds, strong in mind,
strong in body.
The American is dedicated
to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see, then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help.
End the stigma.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Both teams emerging from the locker room, just about set to go for the start of the second half. We had a chance to hear from Florida's head coach, Amanda O'Leary. Now Lisa's joined by the top owl.
Coach, you only trailed for just 16 seconds in that first half. What was your message to your team at the half?
You know, we're just trying to keep doing the things we're doing. It's in all the little things, some small adjustments on our defensive end. We know Florida can score quickly when they get going. So we're just kind of talking about keeping our defense slides where they need to be, offensively keeping the ball moving, looking for the right scoring opportunities. Draw controls are going to be important, making just a few adjustments, and we definitely have to keep up the fight for another 30 minutes.
How do you find that balance in the attack between scoring and keeping possession?
Honestly, right now, we're just giving them like free will to just move and go and play. I'm trying not to hold them back. I think they've got a pretty good feel for the game in terms of the pace. And you know, if we've got a good scoring opportunity now, we're going to take it.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks.
Lisa, again, great to always hear from our two Hall of Famers coaching on the sideline here today. For that Temple staff, obviously great support there for Bonnie, associate head coach, and Jennifer Wong. And of course, you bring back a former Owl, last played out here, Stephanie Parcel-Gobrecht, who had 120 goals in her career, just able to help bridge to this next generation of players here in Philadelphia.
That's exactly right. When you have players that have been there at that caliber, they know what to do in this situation. It makes things so much easier. You heard Coach, her side doing what they need to do. They're having the long extended possessions. Defensively, they're going to have to get the slide there quicker, head on a swivel. Florida doing a good job back cutting. But all in all, a very good first half for Temple, trailing for just the final 16 seconds.
Well, Florida, you look at the number of goals they put up this year, and only once have they been held to fewer than 10. That was an 11-9 match against North Carolina about midway through this month. But other than that, you're talking about a Gators team that puts a double-digit goals. Their magic number is 14. As a program all-time, 120 wins, only 2 losses if they can get to that 14-goal mark. At the moment, they're not on that pace, but that pace can change in a hurry.
It certainly can with the Florida offense, the way they can score goals. They've come from behind 3 times this season. They trailed by 2 at High Point, ultimately won that game 10-8. They trailed by a goal against number 7, Stony Point. They won that game, and they trailed against Brown as well early. Came back to win all 3 of those games. They're going to be looking to do the same here today in Philadelphia.
Lincoln Rose, Kip McConico, and we're fortunate, of course, to have Lisa Roman down on the sidelines. Great vantage point on this one.
Temple very good in the draw early, and then Kavanaugh started to find her footing. She was dominant, was the sophomore from Smithtown, New York, late in the first half. We'll see who can come up with the opening draw of half number 2.
Lisa reminds us 16 seconds is exactly how long Florida held a lead, and yet it's really the fact that if you're Temple, you saw that 3-goal advantage slip away after you really did control and play such a great first half hour of lacrosse.
And great work, especially from their junior goalkeeper, Marin Lowell, was fantastic in the 6x6. But Florida knew they would get opportunities, and when they came, they took them.
Second half underway here in Philadelphia. Owls were able to strike first in that opening half. Florida twice able to tie this one up. Finally able to get over the hump with the advantage with the goal from a familiar source. That 200th career goal from Lindsey Ronbeck, your preseason attacker of the year, living up to expectations, and already an early whistle here.
Yeah, looking for that back check, just too much contact. Temple coming up with the ground ball on the first draw control of the second half, so they will get the first offensive set. Again, pushing it back at X, looking to invert, work from behind. Both teams similar in their offensive strategy.
Now it's Temple looking for that equalizer. They just got one shot and a comeback effort right before the end of the first half, but Haley Hicklin was up to the challenge. Now it's Hicklin defending a lead. And well marked by Dapkowski.
A good defense from the Gators. Keeping a stick on Temple players. And just as I say that, wide open at the top of the crease. No one close to Whitaker. Whitaker easily puts that one in to tie it up.
Oh, the sophomore already so talented. Not even midway through her career as an Owl. Makes it look easy.
A great look inside Lambeth. No one marking Whitaker wide open. And that's been an issue from both of these defense, quite frankly. Just too many cutters wide open, able to backdoor defenders, able to find space. And as talented as they are, you've got to get a body, you have to get a stick on them, especially when they're so close in.
Well, in baseball, they have the bat flip. In lacrosse, that stick just goes straight down to the earth.
I have to check the legality of the pocket after every goal. So important to have to make sure no one is getting an unfair advantage.
Again, Florida, certainly national respect, even with a 5-6 record, mindful of the schedule they've had this year, still top 25 in the country. Their first conference test here today. And Temple has been up to the challenge and then some.
And what Florida's been able to do the last decade, putting themselves on the map in women's lacrosse, not traditionally a hotbed of lacrosse, but starting to become one because of the Gators' success. So many young women in the Sunshine State.
Again for the Gators, Grace Haas came into today, 19 goals, a game winner, 7 assists.
A great response from Florida. Haas, nice little face dodge, able to juke her defender, hold her to the out, cut inside. Comes up with her second goal of the game to put the Gators back on top.
Several Gators already double dipping today. Just a typical day at the office for Grace. Mentioned part of that Baltimore pipeline to Gainesville. Florida, surprisingly, again, just 2 players from the Sunshine State. Both are freshmen.
I have a feeling that'll change in the coming years. Getting more high school talent coming out of Florida. More of them will elect to stay at home, but bring those players down from Baltimore, bring them down to Gainesville in January and February, and that's an easy sell.
Looking to string some together here. Gators saw their lead slip away momentarily with that goal from Whitaker, but a minute later, Haas able to strike to put the Gators back up now for a second time.
A great clearing pass there from Lowell, able to find a teammate. Perfectly on the money to Whitaker.
Able to maintain control, Bridget Whitaker. A great turnout today for both of these teams. What else would you rather be doing around the lunch hour on a Saturday? Making a great battle.
First ever women's lacrosse game in the American. Great atmosphere, a fantastic facility hosting today's battle.
Again, Temple picked 4th in this league. Gators understandably preseason favorites. No shot taken that time from Whitaker. Still looking for that perfect avenue.
Gators doing a good job keeping off-ball defenders packed in tight. That bounce shot easily saved.
Hicklin able to deny Lambeth.
Florida doing what you want to do defensively. Send the defender on ball out. Everyone else packed in. Adjacent's hedging.
Four of the 6 members of the American playing today. UConn and Cincinnati got about an hour head start on us. Vanderbilt and ECU will play tomorrow afternoon. An exciting weekend here. And those Gators, again, if you're Temple, you need to make sure they don't just start stringing them together.
Kavanaugh, great one-on-one move. The shot low. Lowell didn't look like she saw it coming out of the pocket of Kavanaugh's stick, and she comes up with her 3rd to lead Florida in this one. Shannon Kavanaugh, sophomore, really starting to heat up. Has been great in the draw control. And now the offense coming as well.
Kavanaugh, the first to a hat trick today. Her 38th goal now on the year. Against 2nd leading goal scorer for Florida. Behind her prolific teammate and Lindsey Ronbeck, who has 46 now on the year.
Temple's been mixing it up. They'll bring the freshman Winston Archer back into the draw circle, see if she can have any success against Kavanaugh.
Joked with Bonnie Ralston whether Archer recruiting her was just an excuse to go back to her stomping grounds in Charlottesville, where she won a national championship with UVA. That's what she mentioned again. It was just good luck that they came across Winston while recruiting another player. And they'll bring this back.
Great battle for the ground ball there. Both teams knowing the importance of picking up the GBs.
We mentioned Florida, of course, plays on the natural surface, a luxury they have in the Sunshine State, but they're no stranger to this turf and the up-tempo possibilities that come with it, and certainly additional challenges on those ground balls.
Big offensive set here for the Gators. After that shot is pushed wide, it'll stay Florida ball. A chance to go up 3 for the first time. Temple led by 3 early in the first half. Florida able to reel them in.
Yeah, 5-goal swing here. Largest lead already for Florida after goals from Haas and Kavanaugh put them back ahead. Ball spills loose, but there's a reason why.
And you see Florida, they have that athletic ability, and right now trying to utilize it. A bit more one-on-one from the Gators, bringing their defenders out above the 12-meter fan, looking to take them. If the slide comes, they'll dish.
Here is the aforementioned Haas. Temple for that moment up to the task. Stays with the Gators here. Pareka.
Yeah, no angle there on the shot for Pareka. Either have to take that shot quicker or you've got to find a teammate. Good work defensively from Temple, sending her down the alley.
Lambeth eyes upfield. Links up with Rodzwich, who had the first 2 goals on the day for Temple, to help them out to eventually an early 3-goal advantage.
An unforced error, a huge turnover by the Owls. cannot make mistakes like that against a team the caliber of the Gators. When you have offensive possessions, you have to at least get shots on goal.
We'll have a timeout, talk things over. Florida right now a 2-goal lead in our conference opener. These Gators, again, last year 17-4, went 9-0 in their farewell season as members of the Big East. They won the final 4 Big East tournament titles, with that the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, where they have been dancing for the past 8 straight years. A program founded by Amanda O'Leary. When they brought her over after her previous head coaching experience at Yale, they made the right choice.
Yeah, they certainly did. What a job she's done down there, 10 years in Gainesville. The experience as a player, as a coach, has really put them on the map and the state in terms of women's lacrosse, and takes great pride in playing the best teams in the country. You have to play the best to be the best. The reason they have the 5th toughest schedule in the country, and all 6 of their losses have come against nationally ranked teams.
It's been a few years since the Owls have been able to update some of their record books in postseason play on those banners you saw on the fence. Could this be the year that they get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2008?
This is the kind of game for Temple. If you can get a conference opening victory over a nationally ranked team, a team like Florida, it can really propel you on a run.
Maybe a little less sunscreen than when they watch their family members down in Gainesville, but a shorter trip.
Both these teams very fortunate to have such great home fields. Mentioned the Diz down there in Gainesville. What a facility that is. Owls fortunate to have this beautiful Howard Field to call home as well.
Mentioned they have 2 Florida natives on this Gators roster. One of them a Diz in her own right, Natalie Disney, the granddaughter of Donald R., namesake of that great venue. Meanwhile, for Temple, reasons for optimism, not just what's happening here in your conference opener, but this is a roster where the individuals contributing still on the younger side with some early playing time. That's going to pay off in the long run.
It certainly will. The young players making the transition from high school to college, and as good as the high school programs that they played at, it is a big step up to the college ranks.
I think both these coaches still looking for that perfect formula in the lineup. Still some tinkering here midway through the season.
A one-woman clear right there, all the way through into the box.
Some Owls at the moment, sized for some cement shoes. A couple of unanswered goals for Florida.
I've been impressed with their patience offensively, that of the Gators.
And again, that hop, the rebound, back out to Benitez. We have not been able to talk about the senior much today, but Caroline Benitez, a big part of kind of being a calming influence for this group.
Out of Darien, Connecticut, a massive ground ball there on the rebound. Florida, another opportunity.
Florida last scored about 3 minutes ago now, with the strike from Kavanaugh giving her the hat trick. Great feed, just can't take advantage. That ball will not get past Lowell.
Another good look inside. Able to get sticks to it where the Owls looks a bit late as Lowell there to come up with it.
And all this part of our spring coverage here on the American Digital Network. Had softball last night in Houston, baseball last weekend in Greenville, women's lacrosse making its debut. We'll have at least parts of each of these championships as well during the spring, along with golf and tennis. Great to have you with us on this historic day for the American. Temple, of course, a full member of the American. Florida and Vanderbilt, affiliates with many of their neighbors in the athletic department, of course, a part of the SEC.
Owls Owls probing, trying to find a spot, looking for a lane to dodge through. So far, haven't been able to find one.
And the infraction there was on Ronzowicz.
That's going to go against Temple. So Temple, the last time down, an unforced turnover, threw it away. And then Ronzowicz turns it over here. Owls got to do better offensively. Gators back to work on the offensive end.
Florida with a 2-1 edge here in the second half, and that has just increased.
Another feed inside, another look to the crease from X, and that is where the Gators are making a living today.
There is Benitez, calm, cool, collected, the senior. Able to find the back of the net in that cage.
Senior from Connecticut, a great job there. Able to collect it. Quick stick, didn't even take a cradle before slipping that one by Lowell. And the Gator Chomp back in action here in Philadelphia.
Her 5 goals might get her a little more notoriety on some other programs around the country. But it's all the other things she does for the blue and orange. Another timeout here in Philadelphia as Temple now with its largest deficit of the day. A team that controlled much of the first half with those final 16 seconds. If only there was a way for a half of Lacrosse to only be 29.5 minutes. This might be a different story here in the second half, but Florida able to capture that lead just in time.
Absolutely right. They went into the lead. They went into half, I should say, leading 6-5. They've extended it here in the second. They're taking a page out of Temple's book. They are slowing things down, controlling possession. They are keeping it in their offensive third. They've come up with some good goals in those long, extended sets.
Take a look at some of the numbers. Shots pretty even. Gators with the edge, 22-21. Certainly nothing stands out there. Both of them pretty effective getting shots on goal. 20-16, also favoring the women from Gainesville right now. Free position shots similar as well. 5 for the Gators, 6 for Temple. The Gators, that edge and ground balls, something you're looking for perhaps here. Draw controls, 10-6 as well. A little surprised though, Gators with 8 turnovers. Temple has certainly put up a fight today.
Yeah, they certainly have. It's been good defensively. Uncharacteristic 8 turnovers already by the Gators. But you mentioned the 2 stats that are so important in each and every game in favor of the visitors: draw control and ground balls. Gators getting it done in the circle and in the 50-50 balls.
5 different goal scorers so far for Florida. Kavanaugh with a hat trick. Ronbeck and Haas each with a brace. We've seen Benitez and Martinet with a goal apiece as well. The latter has an assist, as do Ronbeck and Haas. All the usual suspects chiming in today, really, for both of these programs. Hicklin today in goal has seen 10 shots. Save percentage of 62%. Lowell right now at 55%.
You've got to give Hicklin a lot of credit. It was a difficult start. First few shots, she wasn't able to locate it. Wasn't seeing the ball well early in this one. Has made the adjustments. Has been much better here in the second half.
5 different goal scorers as well for Temple. Ronzowicz with the lone brace.
Another draw controlled by the Gators. Mentioned this, a game of momentum. Temple has to be very careful. They do not want to go down 4.
Florida trailed by 3 when it was 4-1 in that opening half. Now up by that margin. Inside the 8. Biggest deficit of the day. As the scoreboard favors the Gators, Grace Haas strikes again.
That's just all Haas. We saw a great one-on-one goal from her previously. A nice face dodge, able to shake the defender. And Haas, the sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, again taking matters into her own hands. Saw the alley, able to get by her defender, and a nice left-handed shot. Went low, opposite pipe. great placement from Haas.
Haas, the second Gator hat trick now.
That's one you think you have a player covered. Haas, great length, good size, able to get her stick, her hands free away from the defender. And good players know you don't have to get separation, you just have to get your hands free, and that's what Haas did.
22 goals, again, just make sure one of the top 3 scorers for Gators lacrosse this year. Well, we've seen a Temple team that is certainly capable of some runs. Not out of this one with still 20 minutes to go. Conversely, it's a Florida team that could start sprinting away.
The term they use, resilient. So proud of their resiliency that they're able to bounce back no matter the situations. They keep coming back. Now we're going to have to see that from them in this remaining 20 minutes.
After the whistle, able to start this from midfield.
Infraction there on the draw for Temple, not doing themselves any favors.
Bree Harris.
Oh yeah, calibrate, yeah.
Starting to see that slide come quicker from Temple. That'll open things up for Florida. Those adjacent defenders hedging over because they've been beaten one-on-one.
Florida enjoying its best run of the day right now. 4 unanswered goals. Haas with the most recent of the scoring strikes, 3 today, 22 on the year. And the whistle before the shot. And again, by rule, have to disallow the goal just out of fairness for the keeper. Never knowing whether or not she let down her guard hearing that whistle. As we'll replay it.
Moving before the whistle did the Owls.
Deja vu. This time, they'll count it. Haas with her 4th goal here in Philadelphia.
Had to do it all over again. The result the same. Haas comes up with her 4th goal of the game and extends the Gators' lead to 5, their largest of the ball game.
And she's 4 for 4 on having that stick pass the test.
For these goalies, a great start for Lowell. It has been a difficult second half. Conversely, Hicklin, it was a tough start for the Gator in the 6x6. She has been much improved here in the second half. Haas, absolutely outstanding afternoon here in Philadelphia.
Able to take advantage of that free position shot. 5-goal lead now for Florida, an 8-goal swing now in today's matchup.
That was a key for the Gators, taking advantage, the finishing, especially so in free position.
These Gators don't rest. Well done, just fighting to get it back. Courtney Taylor, her coach, perfect description, a takeaway defender.
Wonderful stuff right there, much needed. Taylor just too much.
Kaczynski, marked by Ronbeck.
Successful clear for the Owls. Now they will get their first opportunity. The last 2 times on offense, they've turned it over both occasions.
Lydia Hetznecker playing just her 2nd game of the year. Giebert.
Tight angle there from Giebert. Bounces it wide.
Owls just need to be disciplined. Chip away at this, 1 goal at a time. Still 18 minutes to work with here at home.
Yeah, plenty of time, 5 goals in lacrosse. Not a huge amount if you can get on a run and get things going. And Temple started with the free position.
This is a 5-goal run, though, for Florida, unanswered at the moment. And never able to get the shot off Archer. Temple able to recover.
Archer either has to take that shot quicker or find a teammate to pass it to. Just tried to get in too tight.
Oh, what an opportunity there, but Giebert fires one.
Giebert whistled that one. Absolute smoke on the shot from Giebert, but nobody there to back it up for the Owls. So instead of retaining possession, Gators balls, they were closest to it when it went out of bounds.
Our first sighting of one of the Cattell twins, Madison Cattell, with her 5th appearance this year.
The juniors out of a lacrosse powerhouse, West Genesee, West Genny up in Syracuse, New York.
She'll bear witness as her teammates connect. It's a familiar connection as Jen Ronbeck helps find the way into Pareca.
Ronbeck playing the distributor, looks inside. Pareca, a cradle and the finish. Her first goal of the game for the senior.
Pareca last year, your co-midfielder of the year in the Big East. Went on to All-American honors in her junior campaign. As Amanda Leary describes her simply as the heart and soul of this group.
And Pareca getting the highest compliment you can get as a lacrosse player, called a Laxerat. And if you're new to the game, that is the highest honor a coach can call you. If you're called a Laxerat, that is what it's all about. Every player aspires to that title.
She's from New York, where even Laxerat is slightly ahead of Pizza Rat.
Certainly in upstate.
And the Gators have doubled up the Owls with a magnificent run here. And essentially this third quarter of the matchup. It was 6-5 at the break for Florida. Temple pulled even quickly. And now 6 unanswered for the visitors.
This is when it's about keeping the pressure on for the Gators. You have this lead, still a lot of time left. Can you keep the pressure on the Owls, get more turnovers, and turn those into goals to extend your lead even further?
Like that Temple wasn't going to wait for Florida to get a response on the official call.
That's a smart move. Good lacrosse players will start before the whistle. If the official wants to bring him back, so be it, but they will take advantage of that running restart.
That sun is starting to make its presence felt. Will it shine on Temple in a comeback effort here at home? They've seen Florida string 6 straight together now.
Nowhere to go. Great work at GLE, keeping the Owls behind.
Midway through the second half.
Talk all about this Gators offense, and rightfully so, but the defense has been impressive, certainly in the second half.
Right along the goal line extended. And Pareca will be relocated here. Inside the 8 as the whistle blows.
And Gator fans unhappy with that. Just a bit too much contact there. Hall whistled with a foul and will give the Owls a free position. One they, at this juncture, got to think they must score in this situation.
Yeah, huge opportunity for the freshman Gabrielle Kirsch. 3 goals on the year. But it's Hicklin able to stare it down.
Hicklin again knew they were going to go low. Kirsch tried to go 5-hole. Hicklin, another big save. Florida, the turnover. One number that's starting to mount, close to that double-digit number for the Gators.
Yeah, remember that magic number for Florida historically this decade has been 14. And we are not surprised that despite a slow start in the first half, they are certainly within striking distance of finding that. We say magic number 14 again. 122 times in their program's history they've hit 14. They've only lost 2 of them. Came up with 22 goals the other night against Brown in another nationally ranked contest. 8 nationally ranked opponents on the non-conference schedule for Florida this year to get ready for conference play.
Yeah, they've won their last 2 victories over then 17th ranked Stony Point and Brown after falling in their previous 3, all the top 10 teams, Syracuse, North Carolina, and Princeton.
Weinstock helps us get restarted. Kimmy Weinstock making her 7th appearance this year, the junior for Temple. Back to the freshman as that ball slips out of the pocket.
I'm not sure if that was checked away from Archer or just couldn't control it. Hicklin out of the crease looking to come up with the ground ball.
Yeah, briefly an exposed cage there.
It's always feast or famine for a goalie. If you come out and you get it, that's great. If you miss it, coaches will have a few words to be sure.
Had the benefit of this 6-goal advantage. They'll pull her out of the cage for the moment. And opportunity lost for Temple.
So Temple just a bit too long there in that set, obviously trying to find that perfect shot, couldn't come up with it.
And you're looking at Kara Trombetta, one of the many Gators with accolades after last year in the Big East and entering this year.
Right now, Florida taking some air out of it, just sending it around, getting everyone a touch. 6-goal lead, just under 13 minutes remaining. They understand the importance of taking time off the clock.
Again, it was 6-5 Florida at the half. But it's more of the same since emerging from the locker room.
A great look inside. Ronbeck comes up with her 3rd of the game, and you see the individual ability of the senior Kavanaugh with the feed. Ronbeck takes it, splits 2 defenders, held on to it, able to create space, and slips it by Lowell for her 3rd today. I think I'm so impressed with about Ronbeck. You talk about Pareka, Haas, and you can name most of the Gators, is that when they get the ball in tight, they understand they have a little more time than you think you would. You have a defender draped over you. Good players understand there's just a split second more, and if you take that split second, things will open up.
7 straight goals here for Florida.
For Temple to stop the bleeding, it has to come with a win in the draw control.
Kavanaugh with the assist on that 47th goal on the year for Ronbeck.
The dominance in the circle remains with the Gators.
Kavanaugh follows that assist with the draw control. And it's more of the same. And how about this moment for Florida? Again, Hannah Martinet with the brace, the freshman.
This is Florida lacrosse at its best. You win in the draw, you move the ball quickly down, the defense unsettled. Martinet wide open, in tight, a good look, and will go all the way back to the draw. Kavanaugh wins it to herself, head up immediately after getting it, able to find a teammate. 1-2, ball never touches the ground. A look inside, Martinet there dunks it for the goal.
And for the 123rd time in this young program's history, they have reached 14 goals. Mentioned they have only lost on 2 prior occasions when doing so.
Unselfish team offense, moving it, finding the open player who happened to be closest to the goal. So much of this second half run from the Gators is stemmed from what they've been able to do in the draw control circle. It was probably 50-50 in draw controls between Temple and Florida in the first half. It has not been the case here in the second.
And as the infraction will indeed set up Florida and Ronbeck. We'll note Olivia Martin in goal now for Temple. She's been splitting time this year with Marin Lowell.
Martin, the sophomore from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Comes on, has seen action in 5 games and 11.43 goals against average, a save percentage of 33.
Still winds up with the Gators.
Florida in full control, dictating things here in the second half. Must say, we've talked all about the players coming into this game, Pareka, Ronbeck, but Grace Haas, the sophomore from Baltimore of Notre Dame Prep, very talented player and an incredibly bright future, just their second year in Gainesville.
It seemed to be well designed, but Temple survives that effort from Florida.
Now Temple, chance in transition. Good work there from Benitez, able to get back defensively.
Taylor to Acker. Again, you see that wind whipping at the back of Whitaker and company. Weinstock inside the fan.
Time of the essence for the Owls. Still 10 minutes remaining, but they're going to have to move quickly. Not those long offensive sets we saw in the first half.
And they will halt play. Final 10 minutes here in Philadelphia. Cincinnati already victorious earlier today at home against UConn, an 11-9 affair. UConn trailed in that one by 6 at halftime, 7-1, but came storming back, but ultimately finishes 2 goals shy. Against Cincinnati, the predetermined site of this year's tournament, where the top 4 teams will move on.
Julia Ryan, the junior from Princeton, New Jersey, unable to take advantage of the free position. Right now, everything going the Gators' way.
ECU and Vanderbilt tomorrow in their opener.
What a weekend this is. Historic first weekend women's lacrosse in the American.
Up close. Able to stare the opposing keeper right in the eyes. And Bree Harris makes no mistake. She was lights out against Brown, mainly getting teammates involved with her 5 assists. Her showing in the draw circle this time finds the back of the cage herself.
Harris, the junior from Annapolis, Maryland, hotbed of lacrosse. Great work, just able to beat her defender. The slide not coming quickly enough. Good stick protection as she beat her defender, kept the stick in front of her, knew the trail check was coming, didn't allow that opportunity. Comes up with another goal for the Gators.
7th different goal scorer for Florida today. Again, Grace Haas still leading the way with her 4 strikes. Ronbeck and Kavanaugh each with a hat trick as well.
That's one thing Coach O'Leary will be pleased with. 7 different goal scorers for this offense. Coming from non-traditional sources, players like Harris, Benitez have found the back of the net.
6 different Gators with an assist or more. Still up for grabs. Controlled by Lambeth.
Temple just 1 goal in the second half. Gators have rattled off 9.
Foul there on Crisadero.
That's really the difference. It's been the second half. Florida led 6-5 to start this second half, but they've come out on fire. They've kept Temple at bay.
Really biggest deficit for Temple since that tough swing at Princeton, at St. Joseph's back in February. Remember, Haley Hicklin only had about 16 seconds with a lead that entire first half. She did face 1 shot right before going to the locker room, was able to pick up a save. And really that final 30 seconds playing into a strong second half for Florida, currently ranked 17th in the nation. And this is a Gators team that is not going to go easy on you just because they're up by none.
No, they have the depth, they have the players. They want to try to get those second and third teamers in, get them some reps and opportunities because, as we said, their goal is to make a very deep run. They want a conference title. They want a chance to play for an NCAA title as well.
Owls take advantage. 2nd strike of the second half. As Amber Lambeth, again, one of the senior leaders of this group, shows why she's preseason all-conference.
Lambeth comes up with her 2nd goal of the game, much needed there. Owls had let opportunities at the free position slip. Lambeth not so in this occasion. Trailing by 8, as many minutes remain, certainly possible.
Just a reminder what's on the horizon for these teams. Florida will head back home and play Vanderbilt next weekend. Temple will head up to Storrs, Connecticut. That may feel like a home game for some of them. Back to Lambeth.
Great work there on the draw control.
And just too tall with the pass there to Acker.
That's a pass that Acker has to collect. She was wide open. It may not have been perfect, but it was close enough. And in this situation, trailing by 8.
Just one Acker on the roster this year. Gabby and her twin, Gwen, last year's freshman teammates for the Owls. Temple over the years had success, not just with sisters, but with several dynamic twin duos. Always get more bang for your recruiting budget.
Lacrosse is a family game. Chances are if the older sibling plays, the younger ones will as well.
And the Gators have the Cattell twins, including backup goalkeeper Kenzie, on the roster this year. We already saw Madison, those juniors out of Syracuse, come in earlier on. A little misstep. And a scary ball that just seemed to linger in front of Olivia Martin's cage, where the Owls able to control it.
And Lacrosse doing the smart thing, came away with the ground ball, realized where she was, and just always, if you're in that situation, put it back into the crease, give it to your goalie.
Back up with Courtney Taylor. To Julia Ryan. And Weinstock just didn't see a clear avenue to take a responsible shot.
Well defended, forcing a Weinstock to dump it off to Lambert.
Florida able to hold. Temple never could find that shot.
Good defense from the Gators. Ultimately able to force the turnover now. See if they can turn it into another goal.
Again, there's the aforementioned Madison Cattell. They go to her inside, and again, listed at 4'7". You can understand how she can get behind a defense.
Lacrosse is one of those games. You don't have to be the biggest, the fastest. It is all about stick skills. And coming out of West Ginny, there in the Syracuse area of New York, I guarantee you she has them coming from that powerhouse program.
Does have one goal this year. Shot clock down to about 30 seconds. This will be controlled by Temple for a fresh clock.
Again, a change in goal. Martin taking over for Lowell and for the Owls.
Inside the final 5 minutes, Florida led at the half 6-5, but offensive renaissance here in the homecoming for Amanda O'Leary, head coach of Florida, the former Amanda Moore.
To be honest, aided by some turnovers, some miscues from Temple, things we didn't see from the Owls in the first half. Those unforced errors coming up here in the second.
Disciplined defender there, and Lacrosse. Trying to spin free for the open look, but just not there for Maddie Hall.
A nice move from Hall, spinning, looking to go high in the cage.
And we just saw Cattell trying to sneak one into that bottom corner.
Cattell begging them to bring back the dive underneath. A nice move, little flip. We'll see if she found herself in the crease on her own accord, or it appears that she was pushed.
Martin in frame. Able to keep this an 8-goal deficit at the moment.
Still Gators ball, continuing to keep their foot on the gas.
Able to force the turnover. Luderitz comes up with it.
Great work from Temple, not just getting the turnover, but the successful clear as well.
Kirsch and company now with numbers joining them. Here's Margot Hotham, freshman. And that one will go wide of Hicklin.
And Whitaker unable to put that on frame. We've seen a lot of those wide shots in the second half from the Owls. Maybe trying to be too fine there.
Hicklin's only conceded 2 goals here in the second half, but a lot of that, you talk about the best defenses and offense. Gators have kept the pressure on Temple. Hicklin's been a spectator from afar for much of the second half.
That's a role she will certainly enjoy, especially after the first half.
And just a gamble sent through. Won't lead to anything for Temple.
Again, another turnover by the Owls, trying to do a bit too much as they look at the scoreboard and the clock, realize that time quickly nearing that 0 mark.
We're at Howarth Field, 3 years old, part of the Temple Sports Complex with the adjacent soccer facility and field hockey. Really a venue that both the student athletes, coaches, and their fans have enjoyed the past few years now. Temple trying to get back into the NCAA postseason. And again, start to add to those banners that already hang around the venue.
I mentioned the old guard versus the new. Temple, such a great history, what they were able to do in the 80s, securing those national championships, unbeaten season. Florida, they've made it to the Final Four. They've yet to get to that final goal. They've yet to come away with a national championship, but you've got to think it may just be a matter of time for these Gators.
Yeah, Gators trying to get back to the national semifinals. They were there in 2012. Obviously a completely different batch of Gators on the roster. Looking to remain unbeaten all time against Temple. That was not a given through the first half hour of play.
It's a dream start for the Owls. They dictated play, they had possession, they forced the Gators to play the game they wanted in the first half. In the second half, it has been the opposite in favor of Florida.
Stop there from Olivia Martin. Well, the bad news for the 5 members of this conference not named Florida is the Gators this year signed the top goalkeeper out of high school in the country, the top attacker, and basically they can't crack the depth chart yet. They have sat out so far this season. Waiting in the wings. One of the best opportunities as of late with Margot Hotham there.
Yeah, Kenzie Cattell, the junior, taking over between the pipes. First time she's really been tested in this one, on the doorstep and right into her stick. A nice save from number 77 in blue.
And the junior making her 3rd appearance in the cage this year. She's just played 10 minutes so far this season. Temple able to strike, finds that 8th goal. As time starting to wind down. Perhaps something positive to build on moving forward into their match against UConn next weekend.
Yeah, final goal there. Hotham, the freshman, comes up with her first of the game. But ultimately, it's going to be just too little, too late. Hotham, a good job. Cattell going low and just able to sneak it over.
Paige Aldave will participate here with Lambeth. Stay tuned. In just a moment, we'll have a chance to talk with the victorious Gators. Our first ever women's lacrosse broadcast here in the American on ADN. You credit the community. Great support here. One hour of women's lacrosse in the books here in the American, and the Florida Gators will climb their way to the top of the standings. A 9-goal second half as Florida will take this one in Philly 15-8. We'll be back.
Discovery. It can come from any direction, in places new and familiar, but often starts from within.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Gators pick up the win here in Philadelphia, and a couple of happy Gators now with our Lisa Roman.
Coach, coming back from a 4-goal deficit to lead by 7 at the end of this game, you called your team resilient. How were they resilient today?
Yeah, I mean, I think they showed it today. I don't think we got off to a great start first half, but I credit a great Temple team. I mean, they are aggressive. They're everything that, Temple is. It's all about physicality. It's about smart play, and they got us on our heels. So credit Bonnie and her staff and her team putting a great game plan together. But I think our team responded in the second half, and that's kind of what we're used to seeing is that Florida style of lacrosse. So it was good to see, certainly.
A 9-2 scoring run in the second half. What happened to open up the scoring for the Gators?
No, I think we just started taking our time, seeing the options we had available to us, working through our plays. But credit the players. I mean, they did a great job of executing the game plan. Came out with the second half with a different mindset, I believe, and it was fun to watch them play the second half.
One of those players being Grace Haas here. And Grace, 7 different players on the attack scored goals today, including yourself. How does the attack make it so that you can have such balanced scoring?
We really started to move more in the second half and really get through for each other and open up those lanes for everyone to go. And also in the second half, we did a good job of hitting cutters that were open, and it just allowed for more players to get involved.
Getting this first conference win, 4 goals from you today. How does this give you more confidence going into the rest of conference play?
The coaches had made a good point in the locker room before the game. Like, this is the start of a new season. We just finished out of conference games, and this is the start. So I'm glad we got a win, and it was a good team win today to get started for the rest of the season.
A great team win, and congrats to both you and your entire team today.
Thank you so much.
Lisa, thank you. What a talented sophomore, and again, a bright future ahead for the Pride of Baltimore. 4 goals today to help lead the way for her Gators. Florida with the victory on the road today at Temple. We were treated to a good one. Wait was worth it. American women's lacrosse underway in the 2019 campaign. Gators 15-8 victorious. For Kit McConico and Lisa Roman, I'm Lincoln Rose. Look forward to our continued coverage in the march to Cincinnati to crown this year's inaugural champion.